I don't think I have seen a more perfect representation than this clip of what's happening to the deep state right now. Choo choo, mother trucker, as there's no stopping this train, as Elon and Trump have been on an absolute tear recently, as the two sat down with Fox News and gave a really eye-opening picture to what's happening behind the scenes right now that has a lot of really awful, evil people just absolutely petrified. Good. More, please, as truly the Trump administration is now entering the fourth week that it has been in power. And already we are seeing massive, tremendous amounts of improvements comparatively to what happened in 2016 when there were members of Trump's own cabinet, Trump's own government, a part of the bureaucracy that never is elected, that were doing everything they could to undermine him. This time around, Trump is just firing all of them. And we got a perspective to what's happening here behind the scenes as Trump and Elon Musk specifically talked about the larger deficit that they inherited and their larger goals and aspirations with what they are trying to achieve when it comes to cutting the spending here domestically inside of the United States. Here's the clip that I think is really worth paying attention to when it comes to understanding what the two are up to.
Well, the overall goal is to try to get $1 trillion out of the deficit. And if the deficit is not brought under control, America will go bankrupt. This is a very important thing for people to understand. A country is no different from an individual.
Yep, he's not right. He's not wrong. Sorry, pardon me. As of course, we are $36.4 trillion in debt. How will we ever pay that back? Can we ever pay that back? And no, we're in some serious troubles here. And this right now is representing the totally different approach than what Donald Trump had when he was first president of the United States, where, let's be honest with ourselves, he wasn't really a fiscal conservative, and he spent a lot of money. Now the emphasis is on cutting, which is so beautiful to see.
That if an individual overspends, an individual can go bankrupt, and so can a country. And the massive waste, fraud, and abuse that has been going on, which is leading to a $2 trillion a year deficit. That's what the president was handed on Jan 20th, a $2 trillion deficit. It's insane.
For this fiscal year.
Yeah, we inherited.
Yeah.
And inflation is back. I'm only here for 2.5 weeks.
That was January.
Inflation is back. No, think of it. Inflation's back. And they said, oh, Trump, inflation. I had nothing to do with it. These people have run the country. They spent money like nobody's ever spent.
Yep, as cutting $1 trillion, it's a huge endeavor. I mean, we're talking about something that is going to be extremely difficult to do. A lot of people are going to be up in arms as we are finding out that a lot of people are just taking the money for themselves. A lot of politicians that are just enriching themselves, a lot of people scamming the system, a lot of people just doing jobs that are not even there. As we're finding out that Elon Musk is going to be cutting people over the age of 150 years old from Social Security. As of course, a lot of those people, excuse me, those people don't exist. There's no people in this country that survived the Civil War that are still alive. And this corporate media kind of freak out for Elon actually looking at the receipts, actually finding out what's going on here just shows you how rotten and embedded all of these individuals are and how a lot of the money that's making its way out of the government is really going into some of these corrupted hands that pay off the corporate media in order to do their bidding. Now, this is important on many levels, not just because it represents actual fiscal conservative policies, but more importantly, we're making sure that what the government is doing is for the benefit of the American people. The USAID scandal proved that there was a larger CIA woke liberal slush fund that was promoting overwhelmingly leftist ideas. Also, at the same time, our tax dollars were used to censor political causes that were on the right while promoting and financing and subsidizing causes on the left. Not just here inside of the United States, but we did it in Brazil, we did it in Poland, and we specifically made sure that the world became more left became more liberal, became more democratic, became more woke, and became more gay. Why are we doing that? I have no freaking clue, but that's what was happening. And now Donald Trump unraveling this kind of coffer that was used against him when he was president of the United States takes away a lot of the major weaponry of the left that, of course, wielded it against him so viciously within the last 8 years. Here's Elon Musk during that same Fox News interview explaining how this is of key importance, because when you're able to look at the receipts, you're able to actually see who's sabotaging and not sabotaging and actually playing ball with Donald Trump within the federal government.
The president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented, you know? If you take, for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order where, hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense. Like, so obviously, people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals, and yet they were still doing that even as late as last week. And so, you know, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the DOGE team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
Yep, that's a good point, because let's be honest here. In 2016, Trump signed executive orders. He set decrees. He told the government, hey, and they told the Pentagon, hey, we got to get this done. They came back to him and said, yes, sir. Oh, yeah, totally done. And they didn't even do anything. Now you're able to see, okay, we have this executive order, no more luxury hotels for immigrants, for migrants. Oh, why are you doing this? Why are you, wait, hold on here. There's a rule of law here, and the president of the United States is in charge. Why are you going against what he personally declared and decreed with his executive orders? That's illegal. And when we saw Trump in 2016, we saw this happen with Syria in a major way. But before talking about that, make sure to check out wearechange.shop and support this independent media network. We got a sale going on for the month of February with promo code WRCVIP for $10 off of your order all of February. You could also sign up to our email list and get additional discounts on some of the best products in the game here. And I've done a lot of my research specifically with the products that we have here. I use them myself. I give them to my friends. I give them to my family members. One of the best ones, magnesium glycinate. If you're hitting the gym a lot, like I am, if you are doing your best to get good sleep, if you're trying to normalize your nervous system and trying to get the most out of your rest and recovery, magnesium glycinate is the best. I usually have it with my last meal of the day. You should try to postpone your last meal of the day as far as you can away from your sleep. You should definitely not try to eat right before your sleep. But if you do, frozen blueberries, wild frozen blueberries, really good, a major hack that you guys could use. But also, with your last meal, take it with some magnesium glycinate and look at your overall sleep score improve dramatically. I know I have. I have a number of things calculating my sleep, including this Garmin watch. And every time I take some magnesium glycinate, every time I'm like, okay, I'm traveling, I'm dealing with a lot of stress. Oh man, I got so much work right now. I'm trying to keep up with the momentum that Elon and Trump are doing, because they're not taking any days off. I can't take any days off. I need to report everything that they're doing. I'm doing that as best as I can, and I'm supplementing with some magnesium glycinate, some really great stuff available on wearechange.shop. Some of the best stuff out there just for $29, available right now by also supporting this independent media network at the same time by clicking the link down in the description below. As what we're seeing here is this larger tug of war that really is going to mean that everyone needs to be on their A game here, because truly there are a lot of people that don't want people to see where the money is actually going to, because when you do, you find out it's waste, it's fraud, it's corruption, it's abuse, it's going to a lot of really awful, horrible people. I was just recently found out by the DOGE team that is raising alarms about a $4.7 trillion, almost impossible to trace amount being moved around by the Treasury Department. And if you remember, the Treasury Department put up the biggest resistance from Elon Musk and his team from being able to come in and look at the receipts and look at where our money was going to. Now they're finding $4.7 trillion. They can't even explain it. Now, again, as I mentioned previously beforehand, these are not people that want to work for a Republican, a conservative, a right-winger. These are people all predominantly on the left that live in Washington, D.C. If you ever lived in Washington, D.C. like I have, worst time ever, it was freaking miserable, horrible city, you understand that the city is predominantly made up of Democrats. Per capita, there's more sociopaths in Washington, D.C. than anywhere else in the United States. And when you have this larger kind of makeup of a federal government that is supposed to be not biased, that is supposed to be respecting of both sides here, we don't have that, and that's why there has been such resistance. This is why there has been such an uphill battle for Elon Musk and Donald Trump from being able to not just carry out their agenda, as of course 2016 showed. Trump tried to do a lot, but he was stopped every step of the way. He said, hey, how many troops do we have in Syria? The Pentagon came in and was like, we could tell him the truth, or we could lie to him. We're just going to lie to him. We're just going to tell him it's a little bit. There was a lot more than what Donald Trump knew about because the Pentagon literally lied to him. That's something that they're not going to be able to get away with now. That's something that, okay, now DOGE is going to come in. Oh, you only got like 12 troops in there? Okay, why is there's expenditures going up for thousands of them then? This is not 1,000 troops. This is 12 troops. Once Elon gets into the Pentagon, we're getting reports that him and his team were able to, of course, get into the Pentagon just a couple hours ago. Once he gets in there and he unearths the human-animal chimera, larger kind of unethical, ungodly experiments, whoa, you are going to see people's heads explode from the larger disclosures that we're going to be getting. As, of course, they're going to go in there and they're like, oh, this black budget, trillions here, a couple trillion there, just missing. Where did it go? They're like, well, I don't know. They're going to pull a Zelensky. I don't know. $100 billion. I don't know. Where'd it go? I don't know. Yeah, right. You do know. And the politicians have enriched themselves because of this larger screw job that used to go on against the American people that ends with this Trump administration. Here's another clip of them just describing the kind of uphill, bureaucratic, deep state battle that's unfolding right now in front of our eyes.
What DOGE is doing is illegal. Elon Musk is more street vernacular for a male body part. It's a constitutional crisis.
Okay. Why are they reacting like this?
Well, first of all, do you give it fly and rip, or number one? And
well, I guess we must be over the target or doing something right. You know, if like they wouldn't be complaining so much if we weren't doing something useful, I think. But what all we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president. And what we're finding is that there's an unelected bureaucracy. Speaking of unelected, there's a vast federal bureaucracy that is implacably opposed to the president and the cabinet. And you look at, say, D.C. voting, it's 92% Kamala. Okay, so we're 92% Kamala. That's a lot.
they don't like me here either.
I think about that number a lot. I'm like 92%. That's basically almost everyone.
Yeah.
And so, but how can you, if the will of the president is not implemented, and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented. And that means we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. And so I think what we're seeing here is the thrashing of the bureaucracy as we try to restore democracy and the will of the people.
I would say we live more under a kleptocracy, especially with all the larger criminal behavior at play here, because it's not just that they're Democrats, it's that they're also ruthless. They're also criminals. They're also evil. They're also vengeful. So when you're dealing with a people that don't have a strong moral code, that are more aligned to being brainwashed, like many of the Democrats are, as of course the NPC meme is real. When you're able to have people intellectually kind of hijacked, that are low information voters that don't even pay attention to what's going on, and they're just acting like brutish thugs here. This is why we have such a broken system that is ruled by some of the biggest mafiosos, by some of the biggest criminal gangs on the face of this earth. As Joe Rogan brilliantly made this point recently on his show, highlighting just the larger corruption efforts that Elon Musk will be personally looking into. As, of course, after Elon got all that resistance from the judges and the Treasury Department and the government saying, no, you can't audit us. Donald Trump signed another executive order saying, yeah, but now DOGE is going to be able to look specifically into all the politicians and how they got their money when they're supposed to be doing fair. They're supposed to be blue-collar, medium-class, middle-class Americans that are earning a couple $100,000 a year, but they're earning millions. How? Trump's going to be looking into that along with Elon, which is going to be the brilliant kind of chess move that they're making on this grand board that's unfolding right in front of us, which will expose where a lot of that money is coming from, and that lot of that money is going to be connected to our tax dollars just being wasted away. Here's Joe Rogan with what I thought was a brilliant assessment.
When you look at the amount of money some of those Congress people are worth, and you're like, you tell me how. You make $180,000 a year and you're worth $30 million. I can't find a way that makes any sense. Because you should be really busy, right? So if you should be really busy doing this $180,000 a year job, who has time to have a side hustle that pays you 10 times more? Who has time?
Nancy Pelosi, I think, is way up there in the multiple million.
Well, she's psychic. I don't know if you know this. She's really good at the stock market. Like, basically, she
amazing.
meditates.
Yeah, way better trader than Warren Buffett himself here, as of course, they are knocking on the wrong doors, and soon entering the fight, hopefully, will be Kash Patel, the next director of the FBI that will be looking into all of these individuals, as already many friends of Jeffrey Epstein, like Prince Andrew, are petrified to step foot on U.S. soil. Good! As, of course, these larger monsters. There's going to be so many elites. There's going to be so many powerful people. There's going to be so many billionaires. There's going to be so many politicians flying to Sarajevo, to countries with non-extradition treaties with the United States. It is going to be an absolute crazy time, especially when they get into and find out, whoa, hold on. You're a politician. You're supposed to be worth a couple $100,000. You're worth a couple million because this company gave it to you that you helped and argued to give them a contract for with our tax. Hold on. This is called a kickback. This is called money laundering. This is called corruption. This is called a jail cell, buddy. As you're going to meet with Bubba, and Bubba's not going to be too nice to you when you're in jail. All right, there. As those cheeks getting clapped, whether you like it or not. And man, oh man, imagine, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew. This is the framework of what's being set up here. Now, will it happen? I hope so. If you hope so too, share this video. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All exclusively here on youtube.com/wearechange. Get the supplements, wearechange.shop.